Welcome to the grim, lawless 23rd century, following the fall of USGov and mass depopulation of major cities at the hands of the multi-trillionaire de-Huberton family. Baptized in radioactive hellfire, a rare mutation makes Turbo a fiercely pumped scrapper, haunted by specters from her past, surviving the post-apocalyptic wasteland one deathmatch pit fight at a time. But when she rescues the stunning trophy girl, the unlikely duo are thrust into a harrowing odyssey, evading marauding berserkers at every turn on their way to the ultimate showdown as they uncover the horrific truth behind the fall of humanity.
I'm John.
Welcome to episode 120 of the Making Turbo Pit Fighter on a groggy Sunday morning at the end of July, which is we're past the halfway point of summer for you, Jake. So we really need to get some things done before you go back to the enslavement camp.
Yeah. Well, there's still a month left, but it's flying by, and not too much is happening in the world. So
Well, we do have we have quite a few. We have quite a few independent. What was it? Indie Creator Exchange podcast reviews. Right after this episode, we'll be getting together with Tanner Hurley, and we will be talking about his newest project, Satellite Girl. We had talked to previously about Ring with him, so we're excited to catch up with him.
Got my copy here.
I'm going to flash a graphic up because this coming Friday, we have Pat Higgins, and he's got a wicked awesome Kickstarter going for his follow-up to Pulp Bites. So we're going to be right at the tail end of his Kickstarter. Matt King will be joining us. Yeah, Matt King will be joining us very, very soon. I just got the second volume of Tales to Enlighten, the New Testament. I mean, you want to talk about bonkers. I think this is over 400-something pages.
Oh, he did another one?
Yes, he did a follow-up. So this was right after the other one, because we talked about the original. You can see right there, I mean, this is the first one, and then he went. And now this was all with James Edward Clark, and then here he does a lot of short stories, and gets a assorted artist involved. So I'm teasing the heck out of that. I sent emails out. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I should just fess up. I sent some emails out to Adam Lemna, Eli Schwab, and Roland Mann, and I think they're all at San Diego Con, so they're not going to be replying to my email probably for like a week, but I'll do a follow up with them. And we just tomorrow our interview with Jason Schoonover goes up, so that's episode 19. We just did a recording with Dan Snook from Rave Sensation. We also have a 3-man and a comment. Man, we're moving along. I'm not trying to overwhelm us because I know you need to enjoy your summer as well as I do. But we're getting things back together. Yeah. So it's all
hot
exciting.
And heavy.
I'm also this week on the 1st, which I think is a Thursday. Yep, Thursday, August 1st, Crom the Barbarian 2024 collection will be on sale at cromthebarbarian.com. So head over there because this video will definitely be coming up when the campaign is already going. It's a whole entire month. There are some extra artist covers that will only be available during the month of July, so you got to get them during the month of July, or you'll have to get them from the artist directly. So those are some of the updates for where we're at right now. Ken Landgraf, by the way.
Yeah, some housekeeping out of the way. So,
Yeah.
welcome everybody to the main content. We are two artists that are collaborating on a post-apocalyptic sci-fi saga called Turbo Pit Fighter. And I just got out this random pinup because we wanted something good for the intro, but I am actually going to be starting a new page. I'm looking at this page I just finished, which is issue 2, page 19. And we spoke about this in the last episode, what's going on here in the sequence. Um, I just want to finish a couple things out. I'm going to leave this word balloon empty, but I might just add like some little indications in the background. I did it down here with this panel, and I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, you have a dirty floor here with lots of blood everywhere, and she's up against this like altar thing, and I want to try to make that clear for you so that when you're inking this makes this makes sense. But I'm about to start roughing out a whole new page, and on that
What
page,
page?
it's going to be
What's the
exciting.
page number?
I'm gonna be well. This is page 19, so next is page 20, and I'm gonna be roughing it out first on this other pad, and I'm gonna be doing it. You can see it's a little bit bigger, maybe like 10-15% bigger. Turbo's gonna come in and just shooting up the whole place. In this little like church rectory where Sister Ray's being held. I use blue line pencil first, um, but I have to do the panels, and I have my thumbs here. Where let's see, she's going to come in, and these are all the notes that I work off. So, if you're an artist, there's a lot of different ways to script. But if you're scripting for yourself, probably don't want to like fully script everything out and type everything out. So here's just some thumbnails of the action, and you see Turbo's busting in and knocking off all these guards. Then there's gonna be a gun to Sister Ray's head, and Turbo. It's gonna be a standoff, and they're gonna threaten to put a bullet in her head, and Turbo's just going to be ballsy and take the shot anyway. And here you can see that she's gonna blow off at the guy's hand at very close quarters. And Sister Ray then is going to have a very brief conversation with her about getting the prototype to the prison where Elevena is kept. So, page 20. I'm
So can I
in
ask
my.
to be more specific in your process, because you just showed off like these really tiny thumbnails. Then you go to a larger pad and blue line pencil out, and then you go to comic book page again for blue lining and then tightening up pencils. Is that the process?
Yeah, that's the process. If
Okay.
you have a if you have a blue line pencil, it's great because you could just press as hard as you want, and you can just kind of like make all these mistakes and everything, and not have to fix it. Because when you then come in with your black pencil, it just overtakes everything, and nothing else that you did before matters. So you can work that way and not have to like erase and erase and erase. Like I had Turbo here a couple different ways. I think I moved her over a little bit, and yeah. Oh yeah. So this thing I just drew, I do need to erase this because I wasn't supposed to do this in black line. Now that I'm seeing it here, I have this guy's head leaning over here now, and he's getting shot in the head. He's got his arm is going to be reaching out, holding Sister Ray like this. So yeah, I'm just doing really, really hard, lines here to block out this action, and then I'm going to put a word balloon, I think, right here in the center,
Can you drop your
just to
pad, or is
cap.
it not?
Oh,
You don't got
sorry.
enough
Yeah,
room.
yeah. It's
You
a
got enough room.
yeah. So yeah. So this is what I'm thinking that the current composition is going to be. But this could change. I could change anything out here. I'm
So
gonna show
what's
Turbo blowing up this
what
guy.
is
This
your
guy.
process? What is your process in what are you getting resolved on this bigger middle pad process? Is there something that you're trying to work out that you don't understand quite obviously in the smaller, that you wouldn't be able to work it out in the, let's say,
Yeah, this is
final
very.
page?
Yeah, this is these smaller thumbnails. These are just basically note to self. About what's going on, what's happening here. It's very, very scant, and sometimes I need to use the space on these little pages to write things rather than draw. So there's a lot not worked out, and then you can see like I'm changing things around here too. It looks like I had the shot of Turbo busting in, and then it looks like I had like a medium shot of Turbo, but I don't know if that makes any sense here. So, I think I'm gonna have a close up on Turbo's face here in that panel, and then her being like stopped in her tracks, and then the guy up close on Sister Ray. Then I added this thin panel here, so I'm still working this out in real time.
And then you're going to do it again on the final page.
Right, and then when I have that worked out, right. So let me show you how it worked last time, just since we're showing process here. This is how it worked out last time, right? Now, if your blue line pencils come out on the first shot, you don't have to go over it too much with the regular pencil. So this is how I worked it out. My page borders are not very strong here, but just so you can see here, these will be my page borders here. And then once I had it this tight, right, which isn't 100%, but it's pretty tight, that's when I moved it over and did it again like this, starting with blue line pencil. And
right.
when I look at things, I try to say, wow, all right, does this show like the weight shifting of all these characters? Does it show the gravity? Does it show I don't think about backgrounds too much here. I'm adding them in like after the fact. And and when the ADD kicks in, then I'm like, oh, I didn't put anything here. Let me put some more bodies laying around. So I'm like, oh, a squirrel. But it's great. It's great to look away and then look back and look away and look back at this stuff, because every time you do it, you see something new. And how are we supposed to draw these epic battle scenes without putting in some detail?
You have often said, and I just want to repeat, this is a scan copy of your pencils from the original first issue, which was done back in 1999-ish, 2000. And of course, I'm now doing my inking version. But this completed final set of pages you drew twice, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, you said you already had them penciled out, and then you redrew them one more time to tighten out things, just as you just explained from that big pad over to the finals. But you have said in the past where it's like if you do it a second time right before you say it's finished, you're just really tightening up the work so much that people are undeniably going to be attracted to it.
Right. So that is my philosophy. And I tell my students all the time, if you want to know a secret how to make your art good, do it twice. It'll be twice as good. And so back then, because I didn't use the blue line pencil, what I did was I would do the whole page in pencil, regular pencil, and then I would lay it on top of a light box and do the whole thing again, super tight. But this I've gotten over the years, I've gotten faster. So this is a better process for me now, but that's a fine process. If you have a light box, and light boxes are getting cheaper and cheaper, you know what you can get now instead of a light box? You can go to Five Below and you can get this for $5 and it plugs into a USB charger.
Yep.
and it's light as all get out. It's so you can just slip that under something. Because now we have this new LED technology. So, folks, you see, the future is here, and it's only getting farther and farther along. By the time we get to Turbo's time, we're going to have to deal with the fact that there's going to be drones everywhere, autonomous flying little things. There's going to be flying motorcycles. They're not going to be, I don't know if they're going to call them motorcycles, but they're going to have those whirly fan things. They're already out now. And sometimes, Kurt, I send you things like that I see on YouTube or Instagram or whatever.
Right.
But and I hope I don't get scammed by these guys. These videos that are just AI. Because yesterday I saw this. There was all these people up in arms. In America we're crazy and we're paranoid and we're xenophobic and everything. So they're like, the Chinese are kicking our asses. And it has this factory, and they're building all these robots.
Yeah.
And they all look so humanoid and lifelike and everything. And I'm like, is this fake? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's fake.
It is.
Yeah. So so like I didn't send that, but I do see these like aerial vehicles now, and they do have a craft, and it's not fake. You can go up in it and you can film, and you can look down. And it's like it's like a drone because it has a bunch of fans all around it. A bunch of they're not fans, they're like propellers, right?
Yeah.
And it and it's lifting a person up in a small little frame, kind of like not a bicycle frame, but maybe like a little chassis. And they're flying around. They're up along the trees, and they're doing this and doing that, and they're just testing these things out. But I looked a little deeper, and I saw this like really interesting video that they had on these new orbital gears, which are amazing for like controlling things now. Like, if somebody has like a camera mounted on the wall, right, and the cameras they used to move like this, right? They used to go like only in one direction. Like, I can move it this way, or counterclockwise or whatever. And then they were like, oh, well, if you wanted to move like up and down like this, you need a separate gear, right? And they were like, the hell with that. They have these new orbital gears now. And it's like a ball or sphere that has all these other balls and spheres attached to it in every direction, like north, south, east, west, but in like multi-dimension. And then the gears are on them like that, so that they just turn and turn universally. And that's how they're controlling these things now, and they're doing this with everybody knows like remote control cars and remote control planes. We've seen those for decades, but now they're doing that with people in flying craft. And so we have to think about that for our story. And there's not going to be any way around it. And and we also have to realize that the bad guys have all that technology, and our good guys are going to have to deal with that. I mean, if you think about, that's why I have this new drone printing farms. They're drone farms that have like rows and rows of rows of drone printers, and they're just 3D printing drones, because the drones are going to be swarms. And in the future, you're not going to need humans to do your dirty work. You're going to have these drones. And, honestly, Kurt, I think that's here already. You did see some sci-fi movies about that, and the movies are using real drones in the movies. They have this one where the president's under attack. I think it's called like, Air Force One or something like that, and or the bird has fallen, the eagle has fallen, something like that. And there was one with not Daniel Craig, the other guy, the low budget version of Daniel Craig, but like Morgan Freeman, and they had these, and he was the president. They had to protect the guy. I forget the guy's name, but he's got a foreign accent, and he's like the Secret Service guy. They've already made like 2 or 3 of these. And you see like
Gerald Butler.
They're like, Yeah, there you go.
Oh, poor
Yeah.
Gerald.
I mean,
Hey, let's just take a second and apologize officially to Gerald Butler, because he's one of my favorite. He did a movie called Beowulf, uh,
right.
which had no CG in it. I must have watched this thing 1,000 times. Recorded in northern Iceland. Oh, it's just awesome. But
Well, not to
I'm
be
sorry.
confused. Yeah, not
But
to be confused with 2011's Beowulf, which was the first CG that
which
had
is really
CGI
good.
that had
Which is
yeah
really
that had
good. It is good. I dig it. I dig it.
yeah. So yeah,
But
but he's not getting as much as Daniel Craig for a picture. So and but they're good movies. I watched them. It's just like
I love it.
brain
Anything he's
fog.
in, I'll do. I'll do it.
But they're like it's even in the preview. It's like, what's that? Is that like a storm cloud gathering? And
Yeah,
then it's
yeah,
getting closer and closer, and you hear
yeah,
bzzz,
yeah,
and it's like,
yeah,
no, it's a freaking swarm of drones, and we got to get the president into the car and get him the hell out of here. So that's the future, folks. Like it or not, and malign actors or our guys or whoever, they're going to have to deal with the reality that you can have a swarm of drones. It could be hundreds, if not thousands of them. They could descend upon a target. They could all be armed with everything from, from you know, uh, anthrax to radioactive, nerve gas to, I mean, if you want to take out, the president and you've got the technology, build a whole bunch of drones. It gets right over the fence as soon as they're in the rose garden. You just
It depends. But see, the problem with that theory or that conspiracy theory is the drone, and I'm no expert, so I'm just talking out of my ass, but the drone is dependent on a signal from somewhere. It can't
right,
autonomously, and even if it is, it autonomously has to be beaconed into a said target. So, I would guess at this point, when it gets down to that, would be classified as a cyber attack. That our industrial military complex and the government would already have detection established for that I think once again I'm just making this stuff up, but that's a basic way to try to make something happen, because there are detections now in big cities that are completely no drone fly zone. So you can't fly a zone. The moment you put a drone up, like let's say 4 stories, there's something that they're using. Like I said, it's a cyber thing. It catches it and basically goes boop, turns it off, and then sends it right back down. So
well, you're talking about a jammer.
a jammer, yeah. I mean, that's once again comic book kind of stuff. But I'm just kind of piggybacking on your, your
Paranoia.
anxiety towards,
No,
what's
no,
happening
here's
right
the
now.
deal.
What's happening right
It's
now, and how it's going towards a possible turbo post-apocalyptic type of thing. Let
well,
me
the turbo world. Yeah,
Yeah, but
go
let
ahead.
me. I will do my best, and this will be a reminder. Years ago, I'm talking like 10 years ago. Gosh, I just don't even know what channel it was on, but it was a short film. I'm hoping it was on YouTube. So if I find it, I will put a link below. It was like a 20-minute short sci-fi film where it starts off that these drones are coming into this, they're leaving this factory and they're coming over to this other compound, like a survivalist compound, Walking Dead style and stuff. And then all of a sudden it's cut to these people running around going, we got another one's coming in. Another fleet's coming in. All right, everybody get ready. Everybody get ready. And they start shooting these things down. So they're all trying to shoot them down. then it cuts to a scene where, you know, they're in the command room and they're like, all right, Josie and the Pussycats or whatever, you know, the Dog Pound Squad, you know, you got to go in. You're the last hope. You got to go in and you gotta be able to, you know, blow this factory up. Now, I don't want to give it all away, but I don't know how I could explain the ending because it's an O. Henry.
So
But it
people be
has,
warned.
yeah, just people be warned. But the post apocalypse is something happened, you know, where people have now you know, whether it was a germ warfare or whatever it was. So they're all surviving in a compound, but the local, let's say, Amazon delivery system is now completely unmanned, and it's still doing subscription deliveries.
Right.
So I'm making it a little bit more humorous because it's not that humorous, but I'm just trying to encourage somebody to come and watch it. But it does, for the last 10 minutes or so, with what you were going on about in the possible, all this stuff that we're getting involved with in technology, contributing to some type of cataclysmic, apocalyptic, you know, scenario. Yeah, there's always going to be weakness. How about that? Gosh, it was a hook to Microsoft, and they did this company uploaded a patch to their programming,
An
and it
update.
shut down. Yeah, it shut down hospitals, airports. You know, because all of
Yeah,
that was triggered to, you know. So now you're really getting conspiracy theory thinking. You know, with the ability
it
one
was not
has to slow down another society just based on the power grid.
right. Well, it wasn't even the power grid in this case. What you're
No.
talking about was last week everything got shut down. Planes canceled flights. There were some people that were stuck in airports for 3 days. My buddy Pete was going on tour with his band, the Coffin Daggers. They had the instrumental surf fest calendar that they were going to like 4 different places on the West Coast, and they had to cancel the first 3 dates of their
Oh
seven.
man.
Yeah, and they were like, "Thanks a lot, CrowdStrike."
Oh
So
yeah.
it's real. You know, the risk is real because we are so dialed into technology now, and we use it for critical services that are relying. You know, the functioning of big companies and whole industries are relying on. You know, when I was making some medical appointments and everything, and they were like, "Sorry, you're gonna have to call back Monday because our
Yeah.
system is down."
Yeah.
So, and that wasn't even malicious. Imagine if it had been malicious. So they were able to, like a lot of places were able to get back up and running within hours, but some places less so. And the point of all this is, you know, it takes a long time to build something up, and it doesn't take long at all to just like destroy the entire thing. And we, people might see these flags around that have like this saying about the cops. They call it the thin blue line, and they say the only thing that is protecting, our society from complete anarchy is the thin blue line of cops who put themselves on the line every day, to protect us. And I take issue with that. Like, I don't, I know cops have a tough job and they have a target on their back, and they only see people at their worst all day, every day. But I think the thin blue line is just society. Like, we don't have that many maniacs running around, thankfully. And that's the real thin blue line. Like the real like danger is the thin, you know, black line, or the thin, like, red line, or whatever you want to call it, of maniacs that actually, are looking to do harm, and in some cases mass harm. And the thing that's really scary to me is that the technology if you really, really had a mind to, and I hope I don't get a knock by the Secret Service or anything, but if you really had a mind to, the technology is there right now to just make, buy or make enough drones so that you could overwhelm any police force, and the drones would have to be armed with like tasers, or
I
they did
disagree. I just
they
disagree
did
with you
demo.
completely.
I know you
You're
said this is a
too.
conspiracy theory,
It's
but
just
I've seen.
too. It's too. It would have happened already.
I'll
I
let
think
I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
that's the thing. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like
I mean, I did say that the thing protecting us from this is the fact that there are not that many, you know, evil maniacs out there that are willing to put this technology together with this like malevolent desire. But if you're the people that have to keep us safe, I have seen already demonstrations of a taser on a drone. You have seen demonstrations of, firing on a drone. You could definitely do projectiles. Of course, anybody could do a poison dart, from a drone very easily. I'm looking at a video from DARPA from 12 years ago called the Nano Hummingbird, 13 years ago, where they're testing its flapping wing nano air vehicle developed for surveillance, where they can send, I have the idea in my story of the flying peas, but, it's not that small. It's a little camera that can go indoors and windows and in corridors and in buildings and fly around. And, it does make a little buzzing sound, but this is 13 years ago. So imagine what they're not telling us, and they shouldn't tell us. But imagine what's out, now that's making these things smaller and smaller
yeah,
and
and they're
smaller. Because
using
when
they're
it
using that technology for there's cameras
delivering
supposedly.
pizza,
No. The camera technology is being used in Airbnbs. So pervy people can put these nano cameras in your bedroom, and then
well, those aren't even nano cams. Those are
what?
just micro cams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there's
they call it.
videos that come up. If you watch enough tech on YouTube, some really bizarre
Yeah.
shit comes up, and I'll click a couple of them. But one, I had like 2 or 3 videos come up. I don't even know why. Maybe it was, I have no idea. I really don't. I have no idea. But all of a sudden, it was how to scan your Airbnb place for nano cameras, and then how to disable them.
Right, and people should know that nano cameras is just a nickname because these are not on a nano scale at all. They're micro cameras, but they
Yeah,
nickname them nano because
yeah,
they're
because it's
smaller than anything
cooler,
that came
cooler
before it.
sounding.
And 10, 12 years ago when they were nicknaming all these things, they didn't realize how soon, actual nanotechnology was coming. So I also saw a video, and this was real, of a guy that swallows a camera.
Oh yeah, I
And
saw that. I saw that. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So all this stuff,
I
all this
pooped
stuff
it.
is happening.
Pooped it out.
Cameras are getting smaller and lighter, and it's all real. So in our story, and we're fast forwarding 200 years from now. So in our story, um, there's all this stuff is going to be in play. And one thing that I'm not doing is, I'm trying not to ask readers now, whether it's the comic or the Substack, to suspend disbelief, so much so that we don't think all this stuff through. Like we are going to have, for the rectifier squad, where it's going to be super strong females that are like, rescuing people in the no-go zone. They're going to have to deal with drone swarms in order to do any mission, in order to get into the de-Huberton, controlled areas, and to get out, and it's going to be tough. So I'm thinking about all that stuff because I want the world to have consistency and continuity, and the warning is dire, folks. This is going to happen. It's just are people going to be nice to each other? We're going to have to
Yes.
come out. We're going to have
Yes.
to come out with a system where people are nice to each other, because if
What?
Russia wants to
What do you
if
mean?
Russia
Well,
decides to do this to Ukraine, they can do shit like this,
Yeah,
and
well, I think
right
you.
now we're using traditional weapons,
Yeah, and then that's what I was just going to bring in is that there's a lot of studies, even the casualty and the unfortunate collateral damage that's come with the wars going on right now don't equal a 0.5% of what has been you know used in World War II, World War One. We have found kinder and easier ways to kill each other, more efficient ways to kill each other. But the whole idea of war and the two going on right now, in Ukraine and Palestine, it's all territorial. It's for resources and territory. And just to bring it back to our comic book, that's always an interesting. I would classify it like primitive reason. Like I know that Turbo and her her first girlfriend, I forget her name right now because there's so much swimming in my hand. Polska. They live in a forest, right? It's a whole tree kind of tree fort type of thing, which I'm going to say it before you is very reflective of what Mad Max Fury Road, Furiosa, what she's protecting, her and her mom are protecting, is more of a primitive earth-based society, something that I would be more than happy to join a society that has less technology involved. I would love to live on the rest of my life on a farm. Get up at 4:30 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning, milk cows, grab eggs from chickens. Till I would love it. So I mean, the perspective is one where we have a comic book. You have a passion, a greater depth of passion for the possible process of getting to an apocalypse, then living through the apocalypse, and then obviously having a post-apocalyptic situation. Where the movies we grew up with always started with, Mad Max. It's all but maybe 45 seconds to a minute where you see some explosions and some soldiers running around, and the issue at hand is gasoline. That's like the only thing that's important and of value. So let me ask you that question.
I love that.
Yes, I know.
I love that because in our Furiosa coverage, we went over this. They did expand. Like it did start out with, all right, let's just have a world where they're just fighting over the gasoline so they can run around the roads. But in the latest issue of Furiosa, it was all about, like, the word was abundance. What do they have there? Abundance, right? They had crops and farms and peach trees and stuff, and that, and so that was an expansion of the idea, like, all we want is gasoline. But they double down and they say, well, we're gonna show them Oil Town, we're gonna show them, like,
or Bullet Farm,
right, right. So I love the way that they kept with their original premise, and they just expanded on it, and then they also deepened the original premise too, because it's all about the car chases and the vehicles, right?
Yeah.
And so with us, yeah, we're gonna. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to think of like everything all the time, as many facets as possible, including the food and including the the military weaponry, and it's a very open question. In 200 years, Kurt, from now, what will really be going on with human physiology and artificial changes, artificial manipulation, and I keep telling you all this stuff that I see on, on Instagram posts, and it's real. And, this is just the dawn of all these things.
It's not real. Nothing on Instagram is real.
No, they are real. I
No,
mean,
it's not.
I'm just
No, it's
joke.
not. No, it's not.
I mean, it's on the web. It's on
It's not.
science sites, and then,
Yeah,
well, I
I
don't know who
still
you follow, but I
everybody's got
follow.
to make something hyperbolic in a feeling of reality to get the attention nowadays. Because I don't believe anything on the internet. I don't believe it. If there's
No,
something
what?
I want, if I there's something I want to understand, I've got to watch three other people who are devoted to that topic talk at length about that, and then I can formulate. I don't listen to one 30-second clip. Oh, that's how that is and
No,
how it's
neither
always
do
going to
I.
be.
But neither do I. But the accounts I follow are astrophysicists.
It's
Are
you cannot digest stuff and then claim it as true within a 30-second to 45-second period of time. You can't. There's no way. There's no
Well, no,
possible way.
I'm not arguing that the Instagram post is the proof of the thing's existence. As soon as you see something and you go, "Wow," then you click over to YouTube and you see a much longer video. Then you click over to the website. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not falling for artificial, like AI stunts here. What I'm talking about that's real, as we're taping this in 2024, is flying vehicles are getting more and more. They're able to hold a human now. They're able to fly around. You also have those handheld things. I mean, they attach to your hands and they shoot jets. And we've already been seeing guys going between aircraft carriers on those. And I'm sure it takes a lot of energy, but that's 100% real. We're seeing these nano cameras. They're not real nano. They're hummingbird cameras. We're seeing that. That's real. We're seeing people swallow pills that have a camera and it shows you your esophagus. That's real. And it shows your whole GI tract and everything, and they're doing screening for, diseases and all that. That's real. So I'm trying to fast forward 200 years and just kind of like, modulate what will, where we'll be at right there for purposes of this entertainment story we're doing. But I do not doubt one bit that there's going to be all kinds of genetic manipulation. I don't know what it's going to look like. I doubt they're going to be able to make a giantess. I doubt they're going to be able to make you strong and make you leap, stuff like
Yeah.
that. But they probably will be able to make you resistant to this or that disease. You probably will be able to eat something that has little, working scrubbing bubbles inside your system,
Yeah.
that go finds like, anemia cells or sickle cells or something, like that I think will be real. And then, the rest is like, where do we want to take the sci-fi story? Because, we do have enhanced humans, and the whole, backstory is going to be the fight for who gets to control that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in sci-fi, we can do whatever we want. And so we're just like arguing right now over what's real and what's not, and like, what sources to take in, for believing it. But, don't think that I'm like, easily fooled by an Instagram post just because I said I see
Well,
stuff on
I get a sense that you do cause yourself some maybe unnecessary anxiety of the collapse or fall of certain things that we've always trusted, you know. But I have this.
well,
I always, at my core, I always have this positive outlook on things, and I can also generate, possibilities of, a more improved version of, let's say, being policed or being in a feeling of security and stuff. So, I think one of the bigger questions, I'd like to kind of drag us into is, will there be a similar base of value systems? Right now, everybody talks about getting paid. I got to get paid. I need more money. I don't have enough money. It's all about this physical cash and gold scenario that we've been dealing with since, shells and shiny
yeah,
stones, in the
shekels and shells.
exchange. Yeah. And in the exchange of, furs and better spear tips and maybe a daughter or a son or two or something, whatever is going to be
Live
sold.
chickens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So commerce is always at the core. And, I just have to bring in the whole de-Huberton family, and this being the 0.01% of society that accumulates in a massive amount of let's just say wealth, that they can then steer us as society through, hoops and tunnels and the such. But my biggest thing I find myself spending more and more time on is, how do we have a shift in value and I'm not talking about one's life, the value of life. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about is how we can get our basic needs met. Food, shelter,
Right.
clothing, medicine, and a sense of security. And the de-Huberton family offers it all for a subscription.
Yeah. Well, I have thought about this quite a bit, and
Right.
if anybody has some ideas or suggestions, go to our community tab on our YouTube, and and leave a comment. But the way the way I have the story going on the timeline is that the very, very concept of currency will be called into question when the de-Hubertons, they Shanghai pretty much all the savings of everybody in the world by a 60-year plot to create these digital currencies that are redeemable, and they are backed by the faith of this giant mega corporation, and these and all these like banks that appear solid, but it will be a 60-year setup, like a scam, that they pull the trigger one day and take everybody's money overnight. It's just all wiped out. And what that allows them to do then is to kind of extort, blackmail and extort everybody. And everybody will be really pissed about it. So we are going to have a revolutionary currency at one point in the story when the Duke becomes the richest man in the world, or at least to rival the wealth of the de-Hubertons, because he will create the Duke coin, and it will be when he's in jail, because he's locked up. This is going to be his revenge when he's locked up after that whole lottery scheme. They're going to, which I spoke about before. He takes all the lottery money, and he's actually not giving out any prizes. He's just faking all that for many, many, many years, and it turns out that everybody that played the lottery had all of that money invested in their name secretly in a savings account that they all now find out that they own, and they can put their kids through college and shit. There's like all this nest egg, for every single person that was throwing their money away on the lottery. And so when that's discovered, they put him in jail. But then he takes revenge, and he creates the Duke coin. And the Duke coin, because he's the most popular pro wrestler in history, that also turned like a do-gooder governor that was also jailed, because he defied, the system we had that was basically, theft of the middle class. Like the lottery is basically the theft of the middle class, and all gambling is basically just the theft of the middle class and the lower classes. So that's when he creates the Duke coin, and the Duke coin will surge. And as long as the Duke is around, it will be a major currency that competes. And there will be a couple of different currencies, that will compete and fight it out, through the decades. But by the time you get to the depopulation and the wasteland, it's basically just going to be radioactive peas, because they're not only a currency per se that you can trade and you can sell things with, and buy and sell things with, but they're also something you could drop in the gas tank of your car and go, down the road, or your flying vehicle or your gun, and shoot a projected laser beam, or whatever. So that's going to be the currency that when we get to turbo time. So I have to figure out like how far before turbo time, the Duke will be, because we're only playing around between now 2024 and 2240s, let's say.
Right.
And that's not a lot of time, like, to develop all these things. And that's the big challenge for me, is like putting all this out, like stringing it all out on a timeline that makes sense. And I'm trying to
Well,
do that
let
with the
me
site.
let me interject. We are also over the 45-minute mark. We always like to keep these bite-sized episodes, get people to go back to reading their comics, making them if they choose. But we have a Substack that has definitely already launched by the time this video is going out. Link below, doommags.substack.com. I just put that up there. Subscribe and be a part of this conversation that we're having, because the beauty of the Substack is it's a lot of the stream of conscious writing and doodles that Jake has been making for God knows how long, his entire life. And I'm putting them up, scheduling them to drop, I think on Sundays or Mondays or something. It doesn't matter. But the two things you're gonna want to do when you get to that Substack beyond reading is to subscribe if you're not already, but to comment. This is just a place where we want to keep the conversation flowing. Jake also referred to our comment section in the community, where there's polls going on, and there's a lot of really great activity and individuals partaking in there. So I just wanted to put that out there. Jake, do you have anything before we leave and I give my final shout out?
No, please, yeah, please be part of the conversation. If you have something to add, you hear what we're talking about, what we're grappling with. Maybe you have a movie, a comic book, and they have a sci-fi concept that you want us to consider in all these discussions. We are seeing a lot of these things come out, and we all, of course, there's that famous list of things, like 8 things on Star Trek that came true, right? So, go ahead and join in, if you have something to add, or if you're creative and you're imagining, what the world's going to be like. It's going to be all about sci-fi and, unfurling this tapestry, this story. I know I could go on and on and on about what's going to be in there, but, Kurt is actually going to be, cutting off some bite-sized chunks and putting them out there for people to read and see as it all kind of gathers together online. And so that I'm happy about that, because it's a good outlet, and so I don't have to get a psychiatrist. But if you have a good recommendation for a psychiatrist that would help me sleep at night, knowing that there's going to be attacks of swarms of drones that are armed with all kinds of weaponry, and they are going to infiltrate the Rose Garden any day now, then help me out to talk me off the ledge.
I have right now, when this video drops and you made it this far, Crom the Barbarian, the collection of my 4 stories that I did this gray valuing upscaling edition, plus the original 4 pages that Gardner F. Fox put together, plus a 35 fully illustrated pulp prose story that continues the story of Crom to becoming a darker god. Based on the success of this this comic, my campaign is only on cromthebarbarian.com. I am not doing a Kickstarter. It is complete. The moment you purchase it, it will be fulfilled and shipped to you. But once I've completed that, I've already started working on Crom Anthology. So this is I'm showing this off to Jake. I have not shown him. He's going to be a little surprised here. I've been holding on to this since January of this year, because I want to start an anthology of black and white post-apocalyptic barbaric comics that are being generated now or in the past, all the way even back to the Golden Age. This is over 400 pages of material that I've collected that I'm either going to do a direct print of the material from the Golden Age, or I'm going to do my own variant version,
Whoa.
or I'm going to be.
What?
I've already been searching out the owners of some of this material so I can get licensing to reprint it.
Come
All
on.
of this that I'm showing right now are um, Gardner F. Fox material that is going to be supporting um, the Crom universe that's still going to be worked on, but we're gonna be able to get into, like, I'll be seeking out some Voltar licensing so I can start reprinting those. There's another great one. This is a really cool story from Alfredo Acala. This is Eric Kahn, Arikon by Frank Race. These are 3 issues. So this is a one-off print. This is not for sale. This is only for my own use. It's going to keep me, basically focused
Wow.
on what's going on. And it's something that I'm going to want to share with Jake, as we're also over at the cromthebarbarian.com blog and the Crom updates, which every week I'm having a conversation with somebody, either a guest artist working on the story with me, or Jake, who is a contributing editor or the guest editor that supports me on this project, which once again, I have to thank Jake. So please show your support. I'm looking to sell 100 copies. Can Crom sell 100 copies in 1 month? Is the challenge that I've put out to myself and the indie community. So if you're on Instagram and following me, or on some Facebook groups and everything, you're going to be for a month hearing and seeing nothing but Crom. But I'm hoping you'll support me. If you're supporting Turbo Pit Fighter, then you're not going to be without some great black and white, crazy, nonsensical indie comics. So that's all I have, Jake, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
That's it, folks. Don't forget to check out Comics That Influence, where we flip through comics. Don't forget our Creator Exchange, where we do interviews. We got another taping today. And don't forget to check out the Crom. Don't forget to check out the Substack. I think we're up to like 5 different things now. So we got a lot going on. Hot and heavy summer. Talk to you guys next time.
Later.